Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome back to another edition of the Fightful Wrestling Weekly, brought to you by the fine folks over at Fightful.com. Joining me is Tim. Tim, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Loud.
Huh?
That chair's loud.
A little bit, squeaky squeak.
Yeah, I got a WWE 40 on that.
Anyways, I'm doing pretty good. Had an easy day today.
Nice, dude. Yeah, you got those videos out like early this morning. They were scheduled.
It was called working overnight.
And there you go. That's what pays off, man. So we're gonna kick it off here with some news, some more news about the Saudi Arabia Greatest Royal Rumble event and kind of the payment that went through with that. So let's hear what Sean had to write on the website.
So regarding this whole how much that the government's paying WWE, Sean writes, contrary to reports, the price tag for the Greatest Royal Rumble was not $200 million, as reported via various online sources. Also, WWE didn't pay $70 million to put on the event, contrary to what was reported to terrible sources. The UK Sun. He just calls
Shame
him right
on
out.
you, UK Sun.
He called him right out. Anyways, even though the New York Post isn't big on reporting wrestling news, they also ran the news from the Sun for some reason. For the record, the UK Sun is on the citation blacklist at Fightful.com, which generally happens when a source has reported nothing to be correct on that outlet. Fightful also posted a number of Greatest Royal Rumble statistics, but thus far the actual payment number has not been revealed as of yet. Now, what I had heard, not that they got $200 million for the one event, it's supposed to be $200 million for the whole 10-year deal.
Yeah, so it's like they get a certain amount. What would it be? So if it's 10 years,
$20 million a year?
I don't know. I dropped out of middle school.
$20 million a year.
20 million a year, sure. I mean, I didn't really expect them to get that much money for one event.
Exactly.
So I mean, yeah. I mean, now you know. Thanks to the fine guys over at Fightful.com. Now we're gonna send you over to a clip from The List and ya boy.
Of all of the questionable things that are currently happening, Seth Rollins is kind of like a shining light.
He is.
You know what I mean? Right now, he's a shining light. He is doing what The Miz did for the Intercontinental title, and he's just upped it a notch. And you want to talk about WrestleMania 34, Finn Balor, The Miz. They had a really good match. Then at the Greatest Royal Rumble, he had a really good match with Finn Balor. At Backlash, he had the only good match on the show. Yeah. The only good one with The Miz. And The Miz is underrated too, and I should have him on here too for positivity. But anyway, and then the Open Challenge on Raw. Now, I like the Open Challenge concept. I think it's a little overdone now, but I still like it. It gives new guys an opportunity. When I saw Mojo Rawley come through that curtain, Sean, I thought, oh, God, help me. Because I don't think much of Mojo Rawley. I think that if his friend wasn't who his friend is, he probably wouldn't even be on the roster, in my opinion. And Seth Rollins somehow got a decent match out of Mojo Rawley.
Did.
So good for him. And you know what? I even love the fact that
cut a promo too.
I was going to say Monday Night Rawley. I thought that was good. Right?
Yeah.
That was good.
Mojo has been consistently one of the best promos and actors on the roster over the last several months.
I find it hard to take him seriously.
Yeah,
because he comes off like a goof, like Gronk does when they show videos of him on TMZ partying somewhere. He just comes off like a goof. It's hard for me to take him seriously, but he's a big athletic guy. There's no question. You know?
Yeah, and somebody brought up that he did that brawn spot on the outside, and I was like, poor Mojo doesn't have anything else.
And he went full speed ahead on that. Like, it's like he was running down the field when he did that.
We're talking, like, he made a living doing that at one point.
Yes.
That was his job at one point.
Yes.
But Seth Rollins, I just think, is so organically over.
Yes.
He is out there cutting the white meat babyface, gee gosh golly promo, and the crowd's eating it up.
He's the hottest he's ever been, arguably. Obviously,
as
when
a babyface for sure.
As a babyface, for sure. When he cashed in Money in the Bank, obviously that was a big moment for him, probably the biggest of his career. But he's definitely there. And your idea that you have, I want you to go ahead and share that idea that you have for him.
Yeah, it ain't easy to make baby faces. It's not easy. It's a lot easier to make somebody hate people or then sarcastically like people. But I think Seth Rollins is there right now.
He is there right now.
Eventually, one, they should do away with immediate rematches. Get away from them. That way you don't book yourself into having to make a guy lose twice. Seth Rollins should maybe one of these open challenge gets the best of him, no sweat. He moves along and challenges Brock Lesnar. That is the match. I think it should I wish it would happen at Money in the Bank. It's not going to happen at Money in the Bank. But if it happens at SummerSlam, that'd be fine. Seth Rollins should be the guy to beat Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns should win the Money in the Bank. And then immediately after Seth Rollins beats Brock Lesnar, then Roman Reigns comes out, spears Brock Lesnar, spears Seth Rollins, and steals Seth Rollins' championship that he just won.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the most compelling, interesting story to tell. You have a guy that people like in Seth Rollins. You have a guy that a lot of people are indifferent towards in Roman Reigns. There's just so much natural storyline there.
Yeah, there's a lot. You're right.
The fact that Roman Reigns can't get the job done against Brock Lesnar. The fact that Seth Rollins stole his glory again.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Seth Rollins once turned on Roman Reigns. So much of Roman Reigns' frustration would be rooted in truth. The difference is Seth Rollins, unlike so many other face heel turns we've seen, he came out and he straight up said, guys, I fucked up. I'm sorry. Sometimes that's all it takes. Like all these people that dig themselves into holes as characters or even in real life, sometimes I screwed up, I'm sorry is all it takes. And Seth Rollins has come across as genuine in everything that he says and does. Oh my God, I think that Roman Reigns does not have to be a babyface to be the top guy.
Right.
Seth Rollins can be the top babyface while Roman Reigns is still the top guy because I think that's as hot as a feud gets in 2018.
I guess it depends on your definition of top guy.
Yeah.
Because to me, Roman Reigns is not the top guy. I don't think he's really ever been the top guy. Just because they position him as the top guy. I still think you could put a lot of other guys in that place. The merch would have sold as well or better, I think.
That's the argument I always get. A lot of people say, oh, but his merch numbers. Then I said, well, I would hope that his merch numbers are good.
4 years at the top of Mania. I hope so.
His merch numbers should be good.
Yeah, they should.
And there was another discussion that I had. Somebody said, oh, their stock numbers are the highest it's ever been. Well, imagine how high it would be with a compelling program.
It's nothing to do with Roman Reigns at all.
Yeah, it's a compelling program, and there've been a lot of smart business decisions on their behalf. I think that eventually, probably we're almost at the point where moving away from pay-per-view and going digital is paying off for them because
it's working.
They've really excelled in that method. But I think that Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns is a hot feud, and Roman Reigns can even take listen, man, it's nothing. Well, he can be jealous, but not take it necessarily personally. And eventually, you are going to get a Dean Ambrose back.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Ambrose should be just as pissed as Roman Reigns.
If you guys want to listen to the full episode of the Listing Your Boy, you can check it out right here on Pro Wrestling Unlimited or over on Fightful.com. Now, what shows on Tuesday?
Smackdown Live.
And did you know Son Ross Sapp has some behind the scenes notes, not just one scene, but multiple scenes. He has some notes on it, and he wrote about it over on Fightful.com, and now we're going to talk about it. Go ahead, Tim.
So Sean writes, not many noteworthy behind-the-scenes notes for this week's SmackDown Live. There weren't any segments or VTR clips cut for time from this week's show, like last week's Sanity vignette. Perhaps a funny note was that the Bludgeon Brothers segment had all of the teams listed as if they were actually going to be in the vignette, opposed to being smashed up, the toys that were smashed up. He goes on to say that Dean Malenko was a producer for Jeff Hardy versus The Miz. Tyson Kidd was in charge of Charlotte Flair versus Peyton Royce.
Great.
Arn Anderson was in charge of Xavier Woods versus Cesaro, where Woods did
good.
Woods did get a little injured in that match. More banged up than injured. Bit his tongue right through. Sarah Stock was in charge of Mandy Rose versus Becky Lynch.
Who?
She was former Sarita in TNA, I believe.
Sure.
And Michael Hayes in charge of Daniel Bryan versus Rusev.
Good old Michael Hayes. SmackDown was all right this week.
The Mandy Rose thing I want to touch on for a second. I think
for sure.
I think what Mandy Rose is supposed to be now is what they wanted Lana to be. What they wanted what they wanted Emelina to be.
There you go.
Well, here's the thing. Emma couldn't be Emelina. So then Lana was supposed to take that role. And then they just said, you know what? It's not working with Lana either. Then that's when they put her with Tamina. And now they have Mandy.
I mean, she can do it. I'm sure she could.
But is she ready in the ring to be a singles star? Because it looks like it really looked like that they don't even want her and Sonya together at all anymore.
I don't know. I mean, I think she's as ready as she's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they would have gave her more TV time in NXT. It was weird. It's like a Leo Rush kind of thing. She worked the live events, every live event, but she only
Yeah,
did
but the difference
TV
between her and Leo Rush is Leo Rush has been wrestling for,
and that's the thing.
He's been making.
She should have got way more TV experience. She didn't do a lot on TV. She never had any like storylines on TV in NXT or anything like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, of course, it's easier to say that they should have done this with her. But I think, trying to look forward, trying to look at a positive of it, they're very, very excited to give her a direction. They're very excited to give her a character. And hoping that if she's equally as excited to run with this character,
right.
I think she's going to do all that she can to improve in the ring. If she wrestles, women like Becky Lynch, Naomi, who are relatively good workers, safe workers, and can really, if they need to, carry a match. I mean, I think it's a good fit for her. I think she's going to be great, and I'm going to have a good time with it. And while we're on... Oh, go ahead.
Go for it.
No, go ahead. I was going to do our transition.
When I was running that down, I did mention Xavier Woods, but I didn't say exactly what happened, in case anybody's wondering. So there was a spot where Xavier Woods was taking the big uppercut from Cesaro, and when Cesaro hit the uppercut, Woods bit his lip. He literally bit one hole all the way through, not his lip, his tongue. He literally bit one hole all the way through his tongue and then two partial holes in his tongue. He said that he's going to be fine, but eating, chewing, and even possibly talking is going to be a pain for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, but he'll work through it.
And also, talking about injuries, Charlotte Flair's injured too, technically. She needs to get an implant replaced, and on Thursday night's live event on the European tour, she actually had one of her teeth knocked out. I believe it's only one. It could be more, but she did have a tooth knocked out. So
that sucks, man.
Charlotte's in rough shape right now, but she apparently wants to work the European tour and then have the surgery because she wants that European money, that European tour money. So
it's probably gonna help pay for the dentistry. But we were just talking about the women's division and the workers in there, so we're gonna send you over to an interview that Sean Ross Sapp did with Kiera Hogan of TNA.
So Impact is definitely making the most of you. You've done a couple of tapings for them, but I think you've filmed something like 10 or 11 matches during that period. You just spoke about the challenge during the tryout of you doing several matches in a couple of days. What has this been like? Because I know that I think you did 6 in January and maybe 4 or 5 in the most recent tapings.
Yes.
So how is that handle? How do you handle that physically?
It's definitely not without effort. Like it's a different kind of feeling because you put your body through way more in a shorter period of time. I was definitely just trying to stay focused and not think about like how tired I was or how much pain I was in just from like constant working. But this is what I signed up to do, and I wouldn't want to do anything else but do that and wrestle every day and just being able to do what I love to do every single day. And it's still crazy to me to even think that I taped with Impact Wrestling. Like, I watched Impact Wrestling when I was a kid and would have never imagined being a knockout. So to be able to even be a part of this experience is crazy, but I definitely would love to do it even more if they asked me to.
So it's kind of funny. Tessa showed up after your match last night. You faced her years ago, didn't you?
Yes, very early in my career. Oh my God, it was like maybe a couple months in.
So what's that like? I mean, it's coming full circle now because even then, early in your career, you were facing some people who have developed names for themselves, like Priscilla Kelly and Tessa Blanchard, but how does that feel for you to kind of see this familiar face and both of you still very young?
It's crazy because like I remember meeting Tessa when she was a ring girl at PWX, like when she was training with PWX, because I used to announce an interview for PWX in 2014. So it's crazy to see how far both of us have come from that first moment till our first match together, and we never thought we would ever meet in the ring on the indies. And for her to start working with Impact is kind of like again, coming out of left field, it's just like, well, it did kind of come full circle, and I love working with her. Like, she's amazing.